This is the story of Yamilet, and if someone just heard it in passing, they'd probably say, that wouldn't happen to me. She thought the same thing until it all happened to her. Started in Reynosa, Tamaulipas. Her parents were organizing her 15th birthday party. Pretty dress, family waltz, photos, cake, the usual. It was an important day for her. During the waltz, you start dancing with your parents, then your uncles, cousins, grandparents, and finally friends and acquaintances. Among all those people, there was a guy, an acquaintance of her parents, nothing special. He came over, danced a song with her, said congratulations, smiled, and went back to his table. Everything went on as usual. End of the story, or so she thought. A few months later, Yamilet was already in high school on a typical school day. When she got a notification on her WhatsApp, it was from a number she didn't have saved. Before opening the message, she paused to view the profile picture and recognized him. It was the same guy who danced with her at the quinceañera. The message said, "Hey, can you send me the video where I'm dancing with you at your party?" She thought it was strange that he looked her up, but she just sent him the video and went on with her day. But he wrote again the next day, and the day after that, and the next, and before she knew it, they were talking every day, long messages, jokes, late-night conversations. It was during that back and forth that Yamilet noticed he was almost 10 years older, but he spoke so normally, so calmly, that she didn't think much of it. Besides, he worked at the city hall and organized events. He didn't give off any weird vibes. Nobody suspected anything. At Scarlett's 15th birthday party, he saw him again. She was desperately looking for someone to dance with, because at the party, almost none of the guys knew how to dance well, and he came straight over to invite her. They danced, laughed, everything flowed as if they had known each other before. That day marked when everything became much stronger. After that party, the conversations grew more frequent. Messages, calls, good morning and good night, the usual. Until suddenly he disappeared, stopped answering, wasn't online, nobody knew anything. Yamilet went on with her life, school, taking care of her grandmother, who had bad knees and could barely move, and a guy from high school who played soccer and who she was kind of getting close to around her birthday. While she was watching a game of the soccer guy, she got a message from a Rio Bravo number. "Hi Yamilet, happy birthday." She didn't reply, and that same day they showed her a picture where her almost boyfriend, the soccer player, was hugging another girl. She got angry, and because of that anger, when the Rio Bravo number texted her again, she ended up replying. She vented to him, told him everything, and he took the opportunity to get back into her life. The next day, at high school, 3 guys approached her with a huge bouquet.
"Are you Yamilet? This is for you."
No card, no name. At night, he wrote to her, "Did you like the flowers?" And that's when the avalanche started. Chocolates, perfumes, stuffed animals, really expensive bouquets, even one that had $100 bills and 500 peso bills tied to it. In less than a month, her room looked like a Valentine's Day store. Her friends were thrilled, she was too, but something didn't add up. One day she asked him directly, "What do you do for work now?" He answered that he had changed jobs, and now in 10 days he made what used to take him a year to earn. He never told her what it was and always changed the subject. His parents, however, were always busy, rarely home after being promoted. They never questioned where all the gifts came from. They thought it was a boyfriend from high school. And then one day he asked her out, told her to invite a friend and that he would go with his brother. They saw a movie, dined on 20 de Noviembre Avenue, and drove around Periférico. And between one moment and the next, Yamilet turns and sees her friend Scarlett kissing the brother. Everything moved too fast, but no one noticed. Yamilet ended up being his girlfriend, without there being an exact moment when they decided it. But reality hit her all at once. One night they were in a truck, he was driving, and suddenly he said, "Don't get scared, we're going to my house." She thought it was silly, but when they arrived, she saw 4 hooded, armed men guarding a metal gate. "Look, they're thugs," she said, scared, but he kept driving. The men greeted him and the gate opened. Inside there was a huge, almost luxurious house, completely out of the ordinary for someone who supposedly organized events. That's when the first bomb dropped. He had a wife and a son, then came the second one. That beautiful house was a safe house, and he, along with his brother, were connected to a cartel, and this person was one of them. Everything went dark inside her. She wanted to leave immediately. They were only there for a few minutes, but for her, it felt like an eternity. The following days, she tried to distance herself from this person. She took longer to reply to any message he sent her and avoided calls, but her friend Scarlett did the opposite. She posted stories holding hands with a brother without showing faces, but showing off that she had a boyfriend. People asked Yamilet if she knew who the guy was, and she avoided the topic at all costs, until one day he told her he was going to go to her school because he was worried about her. Yamilet, to stop him, made up that she was on her period and that she was feeling bad. He let it go for that day. Then the first major setback hit, and things began spiraling out of control. Scarlett, Yamilet's best friend, disappeared for 4 days and didn't go to school. Her family was looking for her everywhere. The neighbors were looking for her. The police were looking for her. And her photo was put out on an alert. Amber. People asked Yamilet if she knew who her friend was with. She remembered the house, the masked men, the gate, and she knew exactly where she could be. But because of the pressure of everything, she said she didn't know anything. That Friday, with his head a mess, he went to that guy's house where he would most likely find her. So after leaving school in her uniform with her backpack in fear, she decided to go. When she arrived at that place, the people outside let her in without asking, "Is she the boss's girlfriend?" And they let her in. He greeted her with a smile. She didn't waste any time and asked directly about Scarlett. They took her to a room. She was lying on a bed, almost unconscious, next to this person's brother. And he also explained to her that they had been using for days. Yamilet tried everything to wake her, slapping and yelling. He said that's how they'd come down and told her not to move her so much. And then it happened that this person's bodyguards, why did he have bodyguards? They inform him that the contractors had come in, so he runs out to handle the situation and stays there. In Scarlett's room, Yamilet keeps trying to wake Scarlett up, and then this person's wife comes in. She didn't yell or come to fight. She just looked her in the eye and advised, "Stay away from him. He's jealous, impulsive, and it won't end well for you. If you can leave, do it. If you can make him stop loving you, do it. But don't stay." Thank you, Yamilet. She didn't know that advice would save her life. Yamilet managed to get Scarlett to move. When she half came to, she almost dragged her away. She didn't say anything, no thanks, didn't complain about anything. She just wanted to get out of there. And as best as she could, she took her and left her a few blocks from her house because she didn't want anyone to see her. Shortly after, days after Scarlett got back to her life and started over, the second blow came. Yamilet found out some news. The brother of this person, Scarlett's boyfriend, went after a waiter just because he smiled and talked too much with Scarlett. And then, with a coldness that could only be described as useless, inhuman, he did the same to Scarlett out of jealousy. And there were no arrests. That destroyed her. She cried alone in secret. Her parents noticed that something was wrong, but she didn't know how to explain something like that. She had no idea where to start. One night, while she cared for her grandmother, he called more aggressively than ever, demanding to know where she was and why she wasn't answering. She gave in to the pressure, answered the next call, and told him that she was at home with her grandmother, that she didn't want to go out. He exploded, "My mother, you are mine. Right now, I'm going to go to your house and drag you out by your hair. And if you don't come with me, I'm going to mess up your mom, your dad, your grandmother. I'm even going to take out the dog." He hung up, and a few minutes later, he called another number. She answered, trembling. It was the wife. "Yamilet, you know what? This person is acting crazy and said they're coming for you. Leave now if you can. I'll try to distract him." That's when Yamilet thought everything was over. She was already tired of everything and didn't plan to run away. She didn't want to hide anymore. She just accepted her fate. She packed a suitcase, put in clothes, photos, a few personal things, and for Sio, her grandmother, she made food. just like she did every weekend. During the meal, she asked her, why are you so worried, daughter? She ignored the question and left the room. In a rush, she kept working and wrote her parents, explaining as much as possible, in case they couldn't find her anymore, and in case they never heard from her again. She did all of that with trembling hands and crying silently. In minutes, when she was about to go out the door, someone got in her way. Her grandmother, who couldn't walk, was standing, blocking the exit. "You're not leaving here now." Yamilet told her she couldn't stand up, that she should sit down, but her grandmother grabbed her hand and repeated, "Don't go out." She took her back to her room, sat her on the bed, and held her there. Yamilet obeyed. She looked out the window at the traffic, and every car that passed made her tremble. Every noise made her alert. Half an hour passed first, then an hour and a half, and no one ever came. She didn't understand until she saw the news. He, along with his bodyguards, ran into the Marines at a very specific point in the city. There was a confrontation. The Marines didn't give them time to get out or even react. That's where it all ended for him. He didn't feel any kind of joy, but he did feel a great relief, as if a huge burden had been lifted off his shoulders. Months later, Yamilet finally talked about it with his parents. He told them everything, and they, in shock, asked the grandmother, "How did you get up that day if you couldn't walk?" The grandmother answered, "When you left, I prayed for you because you seemed worried, and God appeared to me in my room. He told me that you were in great danger, gave me his hand and said, 'Yamilet is in danger. Stand up and don't let her leave.' I told him I can't walk, and he said, 'Yes, you can. Get up and walk in the cha,' and that's why I stopped you." That left everyone silent. Scarlett was hurt, seeing what her life had become. It was hard for her to care for or trust someone again. But one day, when telling her story, she summed it up in a single sentence. "Before I became the girlfriend of someone from the gang, I was just a 15-year-old girl. I just wanted to dance at my 15th birthday, not meet the devil." If you also have a story you want to share, send it to me, Cornell, to my email or any of my social media accounts. I'll read it as soon as I can. Thanks for watching the video. Seriously, it really helps a lot. If you like, comment or share it. And if you enjoy this kind of content, you can subscribe. I really appreciate it. See you next time.